Okay, so let's be real. Have you ever been in that spot? Your mower's dead, you're about to leave for vacation, or maybe it's just 100 degrees outside and you can't even think about mowing the lawn. So you call a pro just for one cut, and they quote you a price that just seems insane, right? It's super frustrating, and today we're going to dig into the real reason why that one-time mow costs so much more. This is the big question, isn't it? I mean, how hard can it be? It's just one mow. But that crazy high price, or sometimes just getting ghosted by lawn companies, tells you there's something else going on. So let's pull back the curtain and figure out what's really happening. All right, let's call this what it is, the one-time mow problem. It's something so many of us have run into. You just need a simple, quick fix, but finding someone to do it for a fair price feels almost impossible. And this is the part that drives you nuts, right? You get a quote that's like double what your neighbor pays for their weekly service. Or even worse, they say, yeah, we can get you in 2 weeks. If that's happened to you, trust me, you are not the only one. Okay, so to really get why this happens, we have to look at it from the other side. Let's go behind the scenes and see how a lawn care business actually works. Because their entire business model revolves around one specific kind of customer. And spoiler alert, it's not the person who just needs one mow. So here it is, the key to the whole thing, the recurring customer. These guys are the absolute lifeblood of any lawn care company. They're the steady, predictable paycheck that comes in every single week. And on top of that, they're the ones who buy the extra high-profit services, mulching, trimming, all that good stuff. They're not just another job, they are the entire foundation of the business. And this really puts it all into perspective. Look at the difference. For a lawn pro, a reoccurring customer is a dream. They get top priority, the money is stable, and they can plan these super efficient routes that save a ton of time and gas. Now compare that to a one-time mow. It's a total wild card. It messes up their whole schedule, it's a one-off payment, and it's basically a logistical nightmare with almost no chance of future business. But hey, you don't have to just take my word for it. We've actually got the data to prove it. GreenPal went out and polled over 1,000 lawn care pros to ask them straight up, how do you feel about one-time mows? And honestly, the answers are pretty eye-opening. So check this out. The results are split into three camps. About half, 52% say, yeah, I'll take it, but there's a catch. They're hoping you'll become a regular customer. Then you've got 43% who are basically like, maybe, depends how busy I am. And then there's a solid 11% who are just a hard, no, never. So let's start with that 52% who said yes. This quote from Crystal Harrell in Columbus, Ohio, just nails their thinking. She says, we have our contracted customers and we will make sure they're mowed before any one-time call-ins. Basically, she'll fit you in, but her regulars are always the number one priority. You're getting squeezed in when and if there's a gap. And what about that big 43% chunk that said it depends? Well, Andy Tucker from Oklahoma City explains it perfectly. He says if it's slow, like in February or March, sure, he'll take the job. But once things get busy, forget it. His regulars come first. And that right there is why it's nearly impossible to find someone last minute in the middle of summer. And then you've got the 11% who just say, no way. Why? Tucker Judd from Canton, Georgia puts it bluntly. One-time cuts are normally a disaster because the lawn is so tall. Think about it. These jobs are often for lawns that are totally out of control. It's tough on the equipment, it takes way longer, and then people get upset about the high price. For guys like Tucker, it's just a headache they don't need. Okay, let's get down to brass tacks. Money. For a regular, weekly customer, a typical price might be something like, say, $35. That's your baseline. That's the price you get for being predictable and easy to schedule. Now get ready for the sticker shock. That exact same lawn, for a one-time mow, you're probably looking at $60, maybe even more. And now you know why. You're paying extra for messing up their route, for the risk that your lawn is a jungle, and because, well, they'll probably never see you again. So, okay, now we all get why it's so expensive. But that doesn't really help when your grass is a foot tall, does it? So the big question is, what are your options? Let's take a look at where most people go when they're in this exact situation. All right, so you've got a few choices. You could hit up Craigslist, but I mean, who knows who you're going to get, right? There's zero vetting, so it's a total crapshoot. Then there's something like Thumbtack. You'll find pros, sure, but those pros have to pay for your lead. And guess who that cost gets passed down to? Yep, you. And then there's GreenPal. You get pros who are vetted and you get competitive quotes, but the platform is still built to give the best deals to people who sign up for regular service. So, with all that in mind, how do you actually solve this problem without getting ripped off or waiting forever? Well, this leads us to a solution that was literally built to tackle these exact issues of price, priority, and just, well, getting someone reliable to show up. Here's how GreenPal flips the script. First off, it makes lawn pros compete for your business. You get multiple quotes for free, which naturally helps keep the price down. Every single pro on the platform is vetted and has reviews, so you're not hiring a complete stranger. That bidding system means you're not just hit with some automatic one-time penalty fee. And maybe best of all, you're always in control. You can pause or cancel whenever you want. Plus, with things like payment protection and getting a photo of the finished job, it just takes the guesswork out of the whole thing. So look, if you want to skip the headache, the best bet is to use a system that was designed for this exact problem. You can get those free, competitive quotes from local pros who are ready to work, right at yourgreenpal.com. So the next time you find yourself in a jam, at least now you'll know exactly what's going on behind the scenes. And it really leaves you with one big question, doesn't it? Now that you know how the whole system works, is it time to change the way you hire?